Welcome to Rat Sound Review. Today we're here with Ronnie Atkins from Pretty Maids, but now also you've made your first solo album.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, nice to be here. I did, yeah. I mean, I couldn't do so many other things, actually, at the time being, for various reasons.
Right.
The lockdown and, everything, so it was kind of the obvious choice to do. Had a lot of song ideas, wrote a lot of stuff at the time, and I had a lot of stuff hidden on my iPhone, I'd like to get out of my system. So,
right.
and I couldn't meet up with anybody because of the lockdown, so it was a natural thing to do, I guess.
Right.
Finally.
Right, yeah. So how was it to record your first album? I pretty much, I guess, mostly by yourself, because I was reading some of the bio that you had in the promo, and this is the first time you did this on your own, and you did it all digitally, right? You sent the files through emails and stuff like that instead of doing it in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was done is to actually, I didn't do it all. I couldn't have done it without the help of good friends, because I mean, I literally only sang on the album. I mean, I had my Pretty Maids cohort, keyboard player Chris Laney, who was living up in Stockholm, and basically he was the one, the guy who said, encouraged me to say, let's go, man. I just had a diagnosis, cancer diagnosis, stage 4, and was kind of freaking out at the time being for a while. And he just hit me. I mean, send me whatever you got. And I did. And I sent it to him. And so he literally did the instrumentation of it and sent it back to me. So I could did like a demo, and I could do the vocals, because I felt like I didn't know if I was racing with time, if I'd get really, really sick or eventually die. But to be honest, it sounds like a little dramatic to say that now.
Right. Yeah.
Here I am a year on talking to you, right?
Well, that's all good.
But that's how I felt, and so it was basically done the way that I sent it up to him. He sent it back to me. I did the vocals, and then he got it back, and he actually did the instrumentation. And seriously, one of the last things we did for this album was the drums, which were done around September or something. And that is totally the opposite way of what you normally do. And I've never done it like this before, because we always used to, write the songs, rehearse, go into some kind of pre-production, go into the studio, do the basic tracks, and one of the last things to be done would be the vocals,
right,
and the guitar solos and stuff. But so it was so totally surreal. Absolutely, but that said, I got to say that the whole process went smooth.
Yeah, it sounds like it did. And actually, I'm kind of in the similar situation as you are as well, because I also play my own music too, and I have just me and my guitar player. We send music back and forth to each other through emails, and he don't actually live that far away, but we're in New York, so things are still kind of crappy here with the virus and everything. But we've been working back and forth, and I kind of did my drum type. I'm a drummer. And I did my drums last, because I let him do all the guitars and bass and stuff like that, and put all the click tracks and everything. And I just recorded to him. And it's actually a little bit easier that way, I think.
Yeah. Well, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But these are the times. I mean, it's not possible to physically meet anybody. Still not to this day. Right now, everything is pretty locked down. It looks a little brighter now, I'd say, but so we got to find other ways to do things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the same thing goes for concerts. I mean, nobody really knows when we can go out and see live concerts again, when we can go out and play again. I mean, everybody is so hungry for some rock and roll and to see some live concerts, all over the world, right? But
at some point,
it is.
Exactly. So, how is your health doing now?
Well, actually, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good right now. Now I'm getting immune therapy. I had that for a year now. I guess that's what keep the devil from the doorsteps. And I think the fact that I actually did this album, to kind of focus on something good and positive, and try to put the things bad way. There's definitely, I believe in the fact that there's a mental aspect to this as well.
Right.
So the thing it is. In my case, I live in intervals for 3 months, and just been through some scans a couple of weeks ago, and everything looked good. It seems like the cancer is at ease, and
good.
And that for me is well, then I'm happy at least for a while, until next time I got to go down and meet the judges, because it is
Right.
like
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. You never get used to that crap, but
Yeah.
I'm doing okay now. I am.
Oh, that's good. Good to
Absolutely.
hear. And my mother-in-law, she just got diagnosed with breast cancer, I think, last year, and
Mm.
everything's been okay with that since. But a couple of weeks ago, they found something and they wanted to get it checked out, and she was a little worried, but it ended up being nothing, so she's fine too.
Well,
It's a scary.
I just I just been through that actually because I went to one of these yearly PET scans
Mm,
and they found something on one of my lymph nodes in my lungs, and
yeah.
then I had to go through bronchoscopy and they took biopsies and stuff like that. So
Mm,
all the alarm bells were ringing, and the red
right. Yeah.
lights were on, and it was a hell. It was 2 weeks in hell, while I was waiting for those results,
Right.
but that's the thing with this horrible damn disease is that as my psychologist I spoke to a psychologist for the first time in my life,
Mm,
like a year ago when all that happened, and she said to me like, "Well, that's what everybody tells me. You feel like an antelope on the
mm,
savannah. You know what's going to hit you,
right.
or
Yeah.
when what pops up next. That's the hardest part of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
can
I mean,
imagine.
I got some pain issues that I'll never get rid of from the surgery and from some nerve damaging from the radiation, but I can get pills for that.
Yeah.
As long as it is not it.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty okay.
You'll be all right then.
Mm.
Yeah, that sounds good. And like you had mentioned too, working on music while you're going through what you're going through, it does help because, again, with me recording, my guitarist, right when we were starting our album, his father was diagnosed with cancer,
Mm.
and my guitarist, he's very close to his father. He's the only child, so he had to go through that with his father, and he always needed a break to kind of get away from that. And I said, let's just keep writing, and say
Mm.
it
Mm.
definitely will help, and it helped him. And, it did help him along the way. Unfortunately, his father passed and all that, but it did help him get through all that a little bit, because he needed to get that
Absolutely.
break.
Hmm.
So it was,
The thing about this thing that it is in your subconsciousness
yeah.
24/7. You
Hmm.
never really get rid of it. You just think about it every
Right.
day,
Right.
but not that you can't do anything else. But it's just
Yeah.
there. Hard to explain. It's there.
Yeah.
And when I set that goal for myself a year ago, that I said I want to do an album. That is my goal now.
Mm,
That's one of the best decisions I ever took. Because
yeah.
has been part of keeping me going.
Right.
And it's important, to maintain as much as yourself in this, to have like a regular day-to-day business going, do
Mm,
kind of the same things you used to do. Keep your humor if it's possible, as long as you're not laying really, really, really sick.
right.
And this is said with all respect to those who are very, very sick of it right now. But as long as you're not, try to maintain as much as you can. It's just of yourself, of your own human personality, actually.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm glad you were able to do that because I've been listening to this album for a couple of weeks now, and it's really good. I mean, it's very close to your Pretty Maids stuff, but it's also got your own stuff in there because it's more personal than the Pretty Maids stuff, I believe. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, it is more personal for obvious reasons, of course,
Right.
I mean, that's the way I write. I always wrote that song. To me, a good song is a good song.
Hmm.
That's really what I have no intention of trying to make any musical revolt or anything, or try to come up with something new. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 years. I'm
Yeah.
56 now. I'll let it up to other people to do that. For me, the
Right.
most important thing is that it's got melody and you can remember it, and it's got some good hook lines and the difference on this one is probably this is written by me and Chris Laney had his input and helped me arrange it and stuff like that. He's done a great job. But normally I've been writing with Ken from Pretty Maids, the guitar and
Mm,
piano, and he's of course a guitarist. So what we've done in the past is more rivery ended, of course, because he had his say. But on the other hand, this time I didn't have to, to discuss with what key it should be in, because then it sounded good on the guitar, And say, yeah,
mm.
but can we drop it to this key and then it sounds great? Because I say, yeah, what about me? Then I can't sing that melody. I mean, yeah, we had these arguments. Sometimes it's great, that
Yeah.
you have somebody that. Well, you have these arguments about it. Sometimes you get a better result, and sometimes it's easy not to have it.
Right. Yeah.
So it didn't take much diplomacy this time. So it was different. And also, I mean, lyrically, I mean, I was in a different place this time, you know. I
Hmm.
was in a different situation, so of course some of the songs became more personal and reflecting, melancholic, emotional, so to speak.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm going through some of the songs, but a couple of ones that stood out for me was "Subjugated." Is that about anything in particular or anyone in particular?
No, it's basically just about narcissism, really. You know, I
Okay.
think we all know a narcissist or came across a
Mm.
narcissist at one
Yeah.
point in our life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it was actually based on a discussion I had with somebody that had a brother-in-law who was that. You know, that kind
Mm.
of lit the spark for the vocals. You know,
Yeah.
for the lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because that song starts off. I'm like, all right, this is a nice kind of uplifting song, and then the lyrics kick in, and I'm like, oh my god, what did somebody do to Ronnie? It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
I just had a bad day.
Yeah.
Actually, the music of the song is pretty much because it was actually one of the last songs we did,
Okay.
and I mean I'm a big Def Leppard fan, and so is Chris. You know, we're basically big fans of a lot of stuff that came in the '80s,
Hmm.
so that song has that touch. You know,
Right. Yeah.
so
That's funny you mentioned that Def Leppard because that was the first rock band I ever started with when I was younger.
okay.
It was my first
Mhm.
ever band, and then when I started getting into Pretty Maids, I noticed you have a lot of that Def Leppard like with the background with the what do you call it the background vocals.
Mm,
You
mm,
very similar type feel with that. Are you like a big Def Leppard fan, or that just happened automatically somehow?
No, no,
Or
we just sometimes we go all in, you know. We
hmm
did that on that song,
yeah.
absolutely, because I mean we're both Def Leppard fans, and Christian Produce is a huge Def Leppard fan, and
Hmm.
which this is so Leopard, man. Just take a listen. Is
Hmm.
that okay, or is it too much? No, no, let's go all the way. We
Yeah.
do it, we do it, you know.
Yeah.
So and so that is not done disrespectfully, but
Mhm.
it's done deliberately, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed a lot of that, and even in some of the Pretty Made stuff too. I hear a Def Leppard type feel to them as well. Actually, I wish Def Leppard would sound like you guys. I mean, God, you know.
Well, I mean, those two albums. I mean, basically, I got to say, like, well, I like Def Leppard since High and Dry or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But Paramania and Hysteria today is still some of the most
Oh yeah,
important hot rock album, melodic hot rock albums that ever came out for
yeah,
me personally.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
I feel the
they're
same.
still doing good. I saw them a couple of years ago. They're still great, man.
Yeah, yeah, they can still rock out. And
Mm,
the other song, "Picture Yourself,"
mm,
it obviously has a lot to do. Well, or I think it has a lot to do with all the riots and stuff that went on during the past year and everything. Is that
mm, mm.
really what it's about?
That's what it's all about. It was
Mm.
like a combination of all the Black Lives Matters and the George thing, you know, and all
Right. Yep.
all the climate change and
Hmm.
and everything. That's what it's all about. It's I had some really I have a good friend of mine is Michael Kiske from Halloween,
Oh, really? Okay.
and we when we toured with Avantasia together, we had all these. As we often had lunch together and talked about spiritual things and stuff like that. And he reads a lot. I've
Mm.
spoken to him a couple of times during all this and wrote with him, and so that he actually kind of I was a little inspired on this lyric when I like on Picture Yourself from what he told me. I mean, it's about we gotta treat nature and treat animals with respect, you know, and
Hmm.
maybe this is I'm not so much into these conspiracy theories, but just think about it. What everything that goes on now, maybe it could be nature's way of payback or saying thank you, human
Right.
beings for nothing, you know.
Hmm.
And so that's the inspiration for that one. That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you feel? Like, I don't know. Like, what did you guys see in Denmark? Because do you see like this? Because there's where I'm in New York, but I'm not in New York City. I'm on Long Island or whatever. And New York City
Mm,
is a mess. I mean, it's closed down to all the businesses are like gone down there. My friend
mm,
works down in there. Everything's different than it used to be.
mm.
I mean, how did you feel about seeing all the things that were going on here? I mean, did that kind of stuff go on in Denmark as well?
Are we talking about COVID-19 now?
Well, no, with the riots and all that stuff.
All the
Because I know
riots.
some other country, had riots and things too. Like, I don't know why, but
We had riots here as well, you know, and in Europe as well. Absolutely,
mm,
maybe not as huge as in America, but that's where it kind of kicked off, I guess. But you
yeah,
know, but it's been a worldwide thing.
mm,
I mean, it goes for Black Lives Matter, it goes for Me Too. Whatever happens one place in the world will happen in the rest of the world right away because
really,
it's a small
yeah,
world these days, right?
yeah, yeah,
So and yeah, so we've been following it.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I've actually had a couple other people from Denmark too. I don't know if you should be familiar, but I'm not sure if you are. Michael Denner from Merciful Fate.
Of course, man. Of
Yeah,
course.
I'm
I mean, way back in the day, back in the early '80s, '82, '83, we always met up in Copenhagen. That was the place to go to concerts, you know, to see Judas Priest and stuff like that, and then King Diamond and Denner and Sherman. They were all there, you know. So, of course, I haven't seen Michael Denner for a while, you know, but it's not so many years ago. I met him and Sherman. They had this new band together, which I cannot recall.
Probably Denner Sherman.
It was actually Dennis Sherman, I think. Yeah. I think it was. Yeah, right. Yeah. He's a great guy, man. So.
Yeah, he was. He gave us because I also do a King Diamond podcast, and he was like one of the first guests on there or whatever. And he was a great guy. He gave us hours and hours and hours of content, so he was real fun to talk to. And also, we actually got to talk to Kim Ruz, their original Merciful Fate drummer, as well.
Mm-hmm. I remember him. I've probably met him back then, but he was out not long after the first album or something. He did. He did the two Merciful Fate albums. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since.
Yeah, he kind of like disappeared. Actually, we did an interview with him. He gave us a really nice interview, and we kept in touch a little bit. And but then he kind of disappeared. I don't know. He's a little. He was actually. We were talking back and forth because with the virus and everything that was when it kind of started. Did it really get really bad down there? Because I guess his wife actually is must be a nurse or something with a doctor or a hospital type thing. And he said it was really bad there. How bad did it get?
Well, I don't think it got as bad as we saw pictures from America, just when it started out, and we saw the pictures from northern Italy and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I think the Danish government was pretty quick to lock down and actually prevent it for really being a big pressure on the health system. Yeah. So, but it's been bad enough. I mean, we still had our victims. A lot of people died from it and stuff, but not as bad as it was in certain other places in the world. Yeah. And right now, I think it looks pretty positive. I think they're about to open up. They started sending the kids to school again now. Still can't go out to a bar or a restaurant or anything, but hopefully in a month or something. Now the vaccine is here, right? I just had my first sting last week, and so I'm in the vulnerable group because of the lung cancer thing, so right. So I got another 2 weeks to go, and then I'll have a second one. So and that hopefully will, as many people as possible will be vaccinated as fast as possible, so we can get back to normal. And it goes for the whole world, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Wasn't sure if you guys started getting the vaccine yet or not. I don't really get to see too many of other countries of what they're doing or whatever. But we're getting ours here, and everything's actually where I am. Everything's kind of been open really anyway, but mostly like in the city and New Jersey, everything's kind of still a little bit closed, but it's kind of still normal life where I am.
But the stores just opened here. Not all of them, but some.
Oh, really?
Just opened here, just like a week ago or something like that.
Oh wow!
So actually on Monday, I think. Yeah. So wow, pretty fresh.
Yeah, well, hopefully everything starts getting back to normal at some point,
We hope so.
Yeah, and also somebody else that we had on our show, and he's on your album. He's the bass player, Pontus Edberg. How'd you get in contact with him?
Well, I've never seen him actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I have. I've seen him on pictures. I never met him actually, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, the foundation of this album was something Chris Laney suggested, because he's doing this At the Movies project where they record old 80s stuff, and basically 80 movie hits from the 80s, and I was part of that too. So
okay.
So we just for one song, We Don't Need Another Hero by Tina Turner, right, for Mad Max.
Oh, all right, cool.
And when we talked about, that's actually when I realized I still had the pipes, because I've been going through 3 or 4 months last spring where I couldn't sing because of my lung tissue was damaged from radiation. Right. So that's when I realized I could still hit the high notes without coughing. And so he suggested, why don't you use the whole foundation of At the Movies for this? And I said, sure, man. I mean, it's brilliant musicians. There's two of my ex Pretty Maids members, Alan Townsend, the drummer, Morten Sanner, the keyboard player. And then there's Pontus Edberg, Pontus Norgren from Hammerfall, and there's Linnea Wikström, who's a great female singer, and Björn Street from Soulwork. And they're not on all the tracks, all of them, but they are basically the foundation for this album, musical foundation for this album. And then we got hold of a lot of different guitarists that Chris knew of in Stockholm, Key Marcello, one of them, and I had my friend Oliver Hartman from Avantasia come up, play. Well, not come up. We sent some stuff down to him, and he played some great solos on that. So it's just a blend of great musicians. I mean, so I'm really feeling. I'm very happy about the result.
Yeah, when I saw all the list of all the musicians you had on here, I knew the album was going to be good because, I mean, it's you, obviously, and then just the way it's produced and everything, too, and just all the solos and the guitar work and the drum work and even the bass work and everything, even your voice. Like you said, you weren't sure how it was going to be, but it sounded normal to me. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything really changed at all.
No, I don't feel it did, actually. I mean, not as I got going, it didn't. But I was just very scared in the beginning, and I'm so fucking thankful for that because I mean, if I'd lost my voice as well, then wouldn't know what to do.
Right.
So I mean, no, and I was scared about it even before the surgery when I actually had the original diagnosis in 2019, and they told me they want to remove 20% of my lungs, which they had to. Right now, I was thinking, will I ever be able to sing again and stuff like that? And I realized after the surgery, not long after that, I could still sing, but I just had this coughing thing that came all the time for a long time. And so, I'm happy. I think I've done good on this one. I mean, it's
I think so.
There's not any big change or major change. There might be a little change. I don't know. I can't hear that myself.
Nothing that.
And I got to say, I haven't been. I mean, back in 2019, I was in absolutely top shape. I toured with Avantasia around the world for like 12 weeks, and I was just on top of my game. And then this happened. Yeah. So I don't know how I would be in a touring situation if I could do like 6 weeks or 6 days a week, as we've done on the last Pretty Maids tour, or 5 days a week. I don't know what my situation is there, because one thing is being in the studio and walking around home, and singing duets with my dog. But what it's going to be like in the touring situation, I don't know. But I'd like to find out, because my big dream and wish is to go back on stage in some constellation whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, do you do any other jobs besides music?
No, I don't.
Yes, the music's been your thing for 40 years. You're lucky, man.
Not for 40 years. I've been doing other things. I've been taking care of kids, playing with kids, like music, playing music in real bands, getting them to play together. I'm an educated bricklayer. I've been doing that sometimes in between, but I always return to the microphone. That's a lot more fun.
No, yeah, especially, I would say so too. If I could do music for the rest of my life, I'd be happy.
Of course.
Unfortunately, the real world doesn't work out that way.
No, but now I think it's like that for a lot of people, especially these days. It's actually harder to get by, even though you might have been a big star in the '80s or whatever. I mean, don't sell the same amount of records anymore, and the whole thing, the streaming thing. So you got to go out there and play live, and sell some merch, and you can't do that now, because it's not possible.
Right.
So it's been a horrible year and a half, or it's been a horrible year indeed, for not just, but for the whole rock and roll community. Because, all the people behind the stage, the roadies, the crews, the catering companies, everybody's been affected by this. Yeah. So.
Now, do you think, like, having this little break of, not having concerts and anything, do you think the music scene is just going to explode? Like, when it starts getting back to normal?
I can't really predict what's going to happen, because I know that everybody want to go out and play at the same time, and a lot of the bigger bands has already pushed their tours. I mean, there's simply not venues enough for everybody to go and play.
Actually, Halloween just canceled. Halloween had a show, I guess, maybe this year sometime, and they just canceled it and moved it to next year now already.
Yeah. So but I mean, there's a lot of bands did, but I can't predict. I think there'll be like a 2-year long transition period, maybe, where things have to kind of adapt to normal. I don't know. It's difficult to predict, because we've never been in a situation like this before. Yeah. So I mean, I just hope the best for all bands. That we all get our little share of. Getting some live gigs, and I mean, people. Every band's we're going to go out on, but people don't have the money for that. Right. I mean, to pay for the tickets. I don't know. It's hard to predict, but I just hope things get back to normal as soon as possible.
I hope so too. I just hope that, because, everybody's actually, bands have still been putting out albums, like you're putting out your album now. And I hope maybe, people just like on YouTube got nothing to do, they're still out of work or whatever, maybe, and searching rock and metal bands and finding new bands that they never heard of before. And when all this stuff breaks out, maybe, things will pick up. Because like you've been doing Pretty Maids for forever now, and it's, I guess you never really got to be like a huge big band, but you continue to keep doing it,
Well, we have our markets, like Germany and Japan has always been great markets for us. And actually, the last 10, 11 years since we did the Pandemonium album back in 2010, we've been on a roll, man. And
I noticed that.
Did some pretty constant, I would say, kind of high level of albums that we did. And,
definitely.
And proved that we were still relevant to the business, to the music scene. So, but I mean, write these things. What else can you do than write some music and maybe record something? That's you can't meet physically. So I mean, you got to do something.
Exactly.
It's pretty frustrating.
It is, definitely is. What keeps you going this long? Well, what keeps you doing Pretty Maids, and now you're doing this? What keeps you doing it?
I couldn't do anything else. It's the love of music. For the love of music, I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I've been writing songs since I was 10 years old. When I think about it, so I can't. It's not really something you tell yourself you're going to do. You just do it because you get the ideas. I don't know where they come from. Sometimes you get ideas, and a melody stuck in your head, or other times you can provoke it by playing the guitar. Sometimes you're sitting by the piano and you get an idea, different inspirations. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It just comes to me. Yeah. And even though I sat down and said, no, I don't want to write any more music, I know I'll have an idea at some point. And then I'll tell my wife, hey, sorry, hang on, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I just got to go upstairs and record this, That's the story of my life, really.
Yeah. Now, did you grow up in like a musical family, or you just did it on your own?
I partly did, we used to. None of my sisters are playing any instruments, but we used to sing a lot when I was a kid. My siblings are like between 10 and 13 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't supposed to be, that's for sure.
Well, good thing you were.
We used to play. I remember from I was a very little kid, like in the 60s, we were like singing "My Bonnie is Over the Ocean," a canon kind of thing, and we always sang a lot. I grew up listening to a lot of Beatles, Bee Gees, late 60s music, and then came all the ABBA and all those bands and the glam rock and the stuff in the 70s. I grew up with that, but the first songs that I remember from my youth is the songs that were played on my elder siblings, cassette players or radio or whatever it was. So, but my aunt plays piano and stuff like that, and actually my daddy could sing as well. My brother can sing, but they never made a living out of it. But,
really? Okay. So you're the first one in the family that made a living out of it, or somewhat of a living?
Yeah, they don't even think I can sing. They say I scream.
Really?
You know how it is.
Yeah.
Listen, and my brother, who's 13 years older than me, he would still to this day. I mean, he's like 69 or 68, 69 now. He was still saying, "Aren't you gonna get a haircut, boy?" Well, that's how it is, man.
Yeah. And if you haven't done it now, you're not going to do it. Yeah. Right. Does your wife like your music? Does she like Pretty Maids and all the stuff that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, she likes some of the stuff. She's not really into metal and stuff like that. When I met her, she was into Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson and all that kind of stuff, back in the mid '80s. And but I mean, she'll just like it. She's not particularly into music. She likes what's on the radio and stuff like that. And, of course, she listens to music, but she's not particularly into metal or anything like that.
Yeah, it seems to be the consensus. My wife's the same way. She don't like. I mean, she likes the stuff I listen to, but very rare does she ever find anything she really likes.
That's probably why you found each other, right?
Probably. I like that anyway. This way, I'm not sick of her music and whatever. So
you don't want to go out and eat dinner with a metalhead, would you?
No, I've been no.
Lazy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. One other question, because I know we got to do some other interviews, and we got to cut this short at some point. But I always wanted to know, where did the name Pretty Maids come from?
I think it came from I think Kenny came up with the name from a book, Pretty Maids Mall in a Row, like the Eagles song. Actually, I think that there was a book called that. And then when we started out, when we talked about changing the names because a lot of people obviously thought we were a girly band,
right? Yeah.
But so we talked about changing the band name to Attica. I remember. I don't know why.
Okay.
It was just an idea that came. But the thing is that we already had T-shirts printed, and we couldn't afford to print new T-shirts, so we stuck with the name. And that's the stupid story, but nevertheless, it's true. And then we just. We also took the first record, the first record deal we had was a little English independent label called Bullet Records up in Stoke-on-Trent in Britain, and they said you cannot be named Hansen and Christensen and Nilsson, Jensen and all these names. So we changed our names, all of us. I changed my first name as well. My real name is actually Paul. Even spelled with an A. Yeah, wow. But I don't know where I got the Atkins from, but I do know that Ronnie James Dio was definitely the reason I picked the name Ronnie, because he was my big idol back then.
Oh, that's cool. I had no idea.
Well, he still is, but anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Oh, cool. Nice. And also, one other thing is, after your career with Pretty Maids, I noticed you have a lot of band members come and go. Most recently, I think Hal Patino was in your band for like a little while. What happened with that?
We sacked him. No, I mean he did.
He seemed to be going through a phase because he left King Diamond too. So
for the very same reason, apparently.
Oh, really?
I haven't, but I've met Hal since that. Hal is a great guy, and I remember him back in the '80s and stuff like that. He's a great guy, and I don't know if it was his wife or whatever. I don't know what happened to him, but suddenly he wanted more money to play a gig, and he did that twice or something. And the end was okay, forget about it. Get out. We're done, man. But he's a nice guy. We met with him since, and we jammed with him and stuff like that, And he's a great character, and a great stage character as well. But he wasn't on any album. He was in the band for the Pandemonium tour, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a huge King Diamond fan, obviously, because I got the King Diamond podcast. But and I've been trying to get him on my show as well, because another friend of mine actually knows him as well. But he's kind of blown me off a few times. So if you ever talk to him again, tell him to come on my show.
I haven't spoken to King since we did a gig in I think it was in it must have been 95 or 96 with Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, the last incarnation of Rainbow back then, and King Diamond and us and another band I can't remember in Copenhagen. That's the last time I've seen him, Cause I actually had to walk into the room because there was something about he didn't want to go out until dusk or something like that. I mean, that was
was he a vampire?
But something like that. And it was a sunny day. I don't know. I mean, I know he lives in Texas these days, and I haven't seen him for like 25 years. But I remember from back in the day, he was always a super nice guy. So.
Yeah. And so. From being with Pretty Maids for so long, and you had a lot of musicians coming in and out of the band, has it been hard to do new albums with new musicians, or is it pretty much like you and your guitarist come up with the stuff, and then the other musicians come in and fill in, or how's that been working?
It's been like this. Pretty Maids basically consists of two strong egos, I would say, from back in the day, because we had the same, as I said, we had the same dreams and goals, and so in the beginning it was kind of the law of the jungle, and I actually looking in hindsight, I'd say that this band still went on for like 38 or 39, 40 years actually, with two alpha males in the same gang. That's quite quite something to accomplish, isn't it? Yeah. So it was basically we've been we were the foundation songwriting wise. I mean, Chris Laney was part of writing one or two songs of the last album. Morten Sandow, the keyboard player, was on this album, also wrote some parts. It mainly were the keyboard players who was in the band. Back in the day, it was Alan Owen was the keyboard player, and he was also participating a little bit on a song or two. But me and Kenny wrote the lion's share, absolutely.
Yeah. So you still stay friends with some of those ex-members, or was there bad blood?
Well, most of them, I don't see them very often, but I'm not. I'm friends. I was never enemies with any of the guys. I was always on good terms. I wasn't on bad terms with anybody, as far as I remember. But I just haven't seen them, a lot of them, in many years.
Yeah. Well, very cool. I really appreciate you doing the interview with me, and congratulations on the new album. It's really great, and everybody needs to go out and buy it.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Wayne.
Anything else you want to let anybody know about the album?
Well, I just hope you dig the album. Let me say about what can I say about the album? It's like a melodic, as I said, a melodic rock album with a heavy twist. It's not as heavy as Pretty Maids is, but I'm pretty sure if you like Pretty Maids, you'll like this too. The singer sounds pretty much the same.
Yeah, he's all right.
And he's a jerk, but anyway, he sounds pretty good,
Yeah.
But I hope people like the album. I personally say if I should recommend the album, I say it's got 11 good songs on it, and got some good hook lines and stuff like that, and hopefully people will dig it. That's what I hope, and I hope I'll be able to come to New York one day. And play. That would be great.
Have you ever been to New York?
Yeah, we did 2 albums there. back in the 80s. Oh, we actually did the Future World, a big album from the 80s, and the one that had a proper release in America was recorded up in Woodstock, in Bessville. So and we mixed an album right in hip factories in Manhattan. In 89. So we went a lot, and we did shot videos over there. So we just never toured America.
Right. Yeah.
So
maybe one day when everything opens back up, you come here and you tour.
That would be great.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great. Yes. Okay, man.
All right. And it's released by Frontiers Records. And when is the actual album release date? Is it this Friday?
It's on this Friday. March 12th.
March 12th.
Yeah.
All right, and do you have a Facebook page everybody can go to?
Yeah, you can go to Ronnie Atkins Official on Facebook. Yeah, and I'm on Instagram too, and you'll get some information now and then on those sites a couple of times a week.
All right, sounds awesome. I actually just added you on Facebook, so friend request.
Cool, man.
Cool. All right,
cool, man.
And thank you again very much, and everybody, please go out and check out what's the album name? One Step, right? No.
One Shot.
One Shot. One Step. What the hell was I thinking? One Shot.
I don't know. You're thinking about something else, but anyway, it's called One Shot.
Maybe that'll be the next album, One Step.
One Step. Second Step.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
All right. Again, thank you very much. Everybody go buy the new Ronnie Atkins album, One Shot, and we will see you guys next week, ratsaladreview.com. Thank you. Bye. What?